1,200 jobs to save here. Let's focus on saving those first and hold Glencore to account. So when you say, Matt, what are you after? I want you to put a bomb under Glencore. Like let's investigate, or at the very least scrutinise what's the motivation behind their decision making. Because if you look at the annual report, as we did, 157 million tonnes of copper at 1.7%, are you guys doing everything you can to keep this mine alive? Do you think, and it wouldn't take you long to get some experts to get back in and have scrutinise the decision making. If you found it was unsatisfactory, the motivations behind that, and inconsistent with the vision we've got for Northwest Mineral Province, if you found it's inconsistent with our vision for Queensland and the Northwest, you'd say, well, you know what, Glencore, let's have another look at your lease.
It would be an understatement to say that it's been a pretty rough 7 days for those affected by the announcement by Glencore to cease its operations at the Mount Isa copper mine. What's the sort of the feeling in the city today, you think?
Most people know there's still a lot of copper in the ground in Mount Isa, and there's a good reason the government's spending $5 billion on connecting to the national electricity grid, because there's $750 billion worth of ore still left in the ground and that's ready to be mined, and a lot of that still is part of the Glencore operations. There's still 150, well, under the Glencore report, there's still 157 million tonnes of copper ore at 1.7% on their annual report. Most people, I think, in Mount Isa are saying, I don't get it. We don't like Glencore, and we know they're not a very good mine operator to have here. And so why the hell are you telling us that there's 1,200 jobs going to go and this copper mine's going to shut down? So I think, it's blowing a hole in people's confidence, but I think there's still a lot of questions because people are saying this doesn't add up.
Just to put that 1.7% figure in context, according to research, the average sort of grade of copper is, internationally is like 0.69%. So this is almost 3 times more the average sort of copper density, I suppose. That's typically being mined around the world right now.
Yeah, so it's pretty upsetting when you see the government's response to this, and not taking the 10 minutes I did to look up an annual report and look at what reserves they've still got there. Instead, they went and said, endorsed everything Glencore said, who, if you think you can trust everything Glencore's going to tell the market or tell people in Queensland, that they went out and the government, Cameron Dick, came up as a tree and said, yep, that's true, 1,200 jobs are going to go here. So everyone, I'm endorsing that. And I'm just letting you know that there is no copper left here. And we're shutting down copper, and everything's going to shut down and shut down. And look, that's probably been a bit unfair. The Treasurer did say, I'm going to try and build other mines in the area and let's work hard on getting other mines up. But we didn't even need to have this conversation. It was just a stupid thing to say.
Yeah. Ideally, what would you like to see happen now? I know, so today, for example, the Treasurer the Resource Minister, Scott Stewart, said through a spokesperson that, the leases, potentially could be cancelled, which is the same sort of thing they've been saying with respect to, say, BHP and their commitments not to go through and mine some of their leases. So, I mean, ideally, what would you like to see happen?
Yeah, well, they're pretty good comments by the mines minister there. Ideally, what you want to see, it would appear on the evidence Glencore wants to exit from base metals in Australia. So they're a commodities trader. They're not a miner. They're a commodities trader. That's their focus, and they happen to engage in mining inadvertently through their main business of their grains trader and commodities. And I think they're one of the biggest zinc producers or traders in the world. So they've acquired these mines as part of their commodity trading business, and there's a big difference between a commodity trader and a miner. A miner looks at an ore body and says, well, if we invest 300 or 400 million and go to work and focus on this instead of 20-year plan, we can mix some of the richer ore with the not so rich ore, and we can make this work and we can do more drilling. That's how miners operate. Glencore's approach is get everything, all the rich ore, as much as you can out of it, and we're not going to invest anything more in that mine, and just set these short-term objectives. So you can't make $200 or $300 million investments to keep mine going, because on a 2 or 3 year outlook, you're never going to pay them off. They'll never make sense, commercial sense. So the short-term planning, yeah, Glencore's run out of all the way they operate mines. But if you go, they've divested themselves of all their base metal operations in Australia. So they sold Cobar, which was their other mine in New South Wales. They sold the Cloncurry copper mine called Ernest Henry. They sold that January last year. And this is the only one left. And they want to sell Mount Isa and MacArthur River all as one package. And it's left there to sell. And they're just like, yeah, it's getting a bit hard. It's tricky. So let's just shut this down the course of, because we're not going to reinvest in any of this and try and keep this going. And the stupid government's come along and said, yeah, well, nothing to see here. Yeah, that's fine. Let's pack up these 1,200 jobs, which is in sharp contrast. And I'll quote the Minister, Treasurer Cameron Dick, when 1,200 jobs were going with Virgin Airlines, that was back in 2020. It said that they were going to move their headquarters from Bowen Hills to New South Wales. Cameron Dick's response as the Treasurer is nothing more dangerous than Queenslanders with their backs to the wall. We will stop at nothing to ensure the headquarters of Virgin remain in Queensland, which activated a $200 million gift from the government to keep the 1,200 jobs in Queensland. 1,200 jobs. Here we have 1,200 North Queensland jobs, and the response was Cameron Dick was, it didn't say we will stop at nothing. He said, yeah, it sounds like just 1,200 jobs. Let's give you 50 million, and that'll do it, eh? Yeah, Glencore's probably right. They're good guys. I can endorse everything they're saying. So that's how you treat it in North Queensland. Is we'll give you 50 million, and look, yeah, I'm not going to put up a fight because I don't really care. But if it's 1,200 jobs in Brisbane, we'll throw 200 million at it, and you'll stop at nothing. And that's the insult, and that's what hurts, and that's what makes you angry. And everyone they come out to Mount Isa, and everyone wants to say, oh, let's look at alternative industries. Stop being negative, Bob Katter and Robbie Katter. Stop being negative. We've got to think about alternative industries. To which we respond and get stuffed. Like there's 1,200 jobs to save here. Let's focus on saving those first and hold Glencore to account. So when you say, Matt, what are you after? I want you to put a bomb under Glencore. Like let's investigate, or at the very least scrutinise what's the motivation behind their decision making. Because if you look at the annual report, as we did, 157 million tonnes of copper at 1.7%, are you guys doing everything you can to keep this mine? Do you think? And it wouldn't take you long to get some experts to get back in and have scrutinise the decision making. If you found it was unsatisfactory, there's the motivations behind that and inconsistent with the vision we've got for Northwest Mineral Province. If you found it's inconsistent with our vision for Queensland and the Northwest, you'd say, well, you know what, Glencore, let's have another look at your lease, because if you're going to sit on that lease, you can't sit on it forever just to play around with people's lives. We don't want you here in Queensland. Let's start making it a bit more difficult for you. Let's have a look at your environmental authorities that you operate on. Let's look at these licenses. Let's look at the mining license. There's plenty of governments to do, and they've done it time and time again. They didn't mind stirring them up over the royalties. And so why, and then you ask the question, why are they so hanging back on this? And why is the AWU sitting there clapping with them as well? Have these guys been talking to Glencore? Have they done a deal? Are they friends with them? I don't know, but they refuse to say anything negative about Glencore, and they're sitting there cheering them on for closing down 1,200 North Queensland jobs. And like I said, if they're Brisbane jobs, Cameron Dick could be saying, "I'll stop at nothing." But when you go, they're North Queensland jobs. It's I couldn't give a stuff. I'll throw 50 million at it, and the AWU sitting there clapping them on. It disgusts me, mate, and it's irresponsible. And KAP will be working to make sure those 1,200 jobs stay there. And we'll get another 10, 15 years out of this copper mine. In which case there'll be other mines open up the region, and we keep humming. But that's just lazy government and irresponsible, damaging, and makes me very angry indeed.